It's time for Anime-Zing Radio here on the Blog Talk Radio Network with your host, Doug Engler.
Anime-Zing Radio is brought to you tonight by Casey Creations. For all of your artwork, cosplay, and cosplay accessory needs, check out www.kaycikreations.weebly.com or search Casey Creations on Etsy. We're also brought to you tonight by HomeCircleMedia.com for the latest and greatest in anime gear, everything from pens, pencils, stationery, and officially licensed art books. Check out HomeCircleMedia.com today or look for them at an upcoming convention.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on the Blog Talk Radio Network. I'm your host, Doug Engler, and we are excited tonight because we have a fantastic show planned. We have our My Hero Academia special tonight. So in about 25 minutes or so, we're going to be bringing on three amazingly talented voice actors who are a part of the My Hero Academia series. They appeared either in seasons 1, 2, or 3, or all three, and we're excited to be welcoming Morgan Berry, Jessica Cavanagh, and Anthony Bowling to the show tonight. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It amazes me when it comes to how they created so many characters with quirks and the creativity behind the show. And we're going to touch more on that here as we bring people on, excuse me, and be able to talk more about the My Hero Academia franchise. The show itself is absolutely phenomenal, and it's so much fun to be a part of watching the characters as they grow. And I've seen a lot of different discussions on it based around how a lot of focus is on Midoriya, who's the main character. In his class, in Class 1A, a lot of the character development seems to go around more of the male characters and the female characters, which there are episodes where you get to find out more about Ochako's past and why she wants to do what she does, and more of see a little bit behind Sue's past and things of that nature. So I think they're opening up to more characters, more character development, and that show can go so many ways. So really excited to have everybody that's joining us tonight, Morgan, Jessica, and Anthony. If you tuned in last night, we had a special 1-hour show that we did where we invited Morgan Berry on to have a private little one-on-one interview with, and we had a lot of fun chatting with her. It had been almost a year since the last time she was on with us, so we're very excited that she was able to come on with us and chat last night. So definitely a lot of good stuff going on there. As a lot of you heard last week, we tried something new with Casey Creations today. We went to the local flea market in Raynham, Massachusetts. But the weather did not want to cooperate with us. Unfortunately, we had an outdoor spot, which on a nice day, if it was 5-10 degrees warmer or no wind, it would have been absolutely great. Unfortunately, it was in the low to mid 50s today up here. After 90 yesterday, it decided that I wanted to be about 55 degrees, windy, and then the rains came in shortly after noon, so we did have to pack things up and leave a little earlier than we really wanted to. But we will be back again next week. We got to meet some really cool people, chat with some people that we probably would never normally chat with because they don't frequent the anime or the comic conventions that we typically vend with Casey Creations. And, I want to throw a shout out to a young artist who we got to meet there by the name of Alexa Gustafson. And they stopped by the table and was checking out the artwork. And we heard a lot of comments of, I never thought that I would see an artist here and things of that nature. And we had a couple of people who we were talking with some of the neighbors around us about, people typically go to the flea market to buy other people's used stuff, not necessarily newer things, not necessarily artwork. You don't see artists very often at the flea market. And I've been going to the random flea market for many years, and I don't know how many times I've ever, or if I've ever seen an actual artist set up. And from some of our artist friends, they've talked about doing farmers markets or small fairs or things like that, but nobody's really ever talked about doing a flea market. So we figured we'd give it a shot for a couple of weeks. We want to try to give it an honest shot where it's a nice day, nice weather, big crowd. We were kind of in a bad spot, the only table really in our row, and people really didn't get to see much of what we had to offer. So we're hoping next week is a better turnout, weather wise, attendance wise. Um, also before I forget, because this has been a crazy week and my mind has been scattered, I want to wish all of our military out there a very happy Memorial Day. I thank you all for the service that you either have provided in the past or are currently providing now. It's because of you guys that we're able to do this radio show. We're able to live here in the U.S. You people all risk your lives on a daily basis to serve and protect our country, and I thank you wholeheartedly for everything that you do for us. And if you're celebrating Memorial Day out there in the U.S. Today or this weekend, I hope you all have a safe and happy Memorial Day weekend. I hope you're enjoying yourselves and don't do anything too stupid. I know there's times when you can't avoid some stupidity, but don't go overboard. In the world of anime, we've been keeping up with some shows. I've been in honor of or in preparation of gearing up for this special. When I first decided when I was going to do it and picked a date, I left myself about 6 weeks to catch up through the entirety of season two and the start of season three of My Hero Academia. And in about 2 weeks' time, I was able to binge watch and get caught up to where now it's every week I'm able to keep up with the storyline and be up to date. And the storyline has just gotten so much better than it did in season one, in my opinion. I'm excited to see where the storyline goes. I'm not going to throw any spoilers out there right now for our listeners out there who have not started watching My Hero Academia. I recommend doing it. It's a phenomenal series. It's got a lot of great storylines. Um, the characters are likable. It takes some interesting twists and turns that you don't expect, and it really is a good, really is a good show to check out. And some of the other shows that we've been keeping up with, Thursdays are a big day for the Funimation simuldubs because three of the shows that I keep up with drop on Thursday. That includes Darling in the Franxx, um, Hinamatsuri, and Kakurio Bed and Breakfast for the Spirits. And all three are really, really good. Darling in the Franxx was one of those, and I've said this many a time, that it's just one of those shows that sneak up for you. And getting messages on Facebook, which it's an idea I would have to see if I could get that together, but I kind of like that idea. Um, Darling in the Franxx snuck up on me on just how good the series really is. And I was when I first started watching it, the characters were fun. I wasn't sure what kind of story arc it was going to take, and even still, I'm not 100% sure because when you watch so many animes, some of them seem to follow the same trends. And characters and the main storyline may be a little bit different, but you usually can be like, okay, well, the hero is going to go through some hell and then he's going to come back out on top. Um, or, this guy's going to eventually get all the girls falling for him because it's a harem style anime, like a high school DxD or whatever. But this one, I have seen more twists and turns in this show that, like, I'm not sure what direction it's heading as it's continuing on, but I'm loving it. And I didn't realize I was as enthralled in the show as I was until Anime Boston. And I've said this multiple times on the show that I first realized how much I liked Darling in the Franxx when I walked away from Anime Boston with three pieces of art from the show, and I probably could have bought a lot more because there were many artists in the artist alley who had artwork, especially for Zero Two, who is a pink-haired young lady who has red horns and is not really human. Um, she is mainly a Klaxosaur, which is the beast that these kids are um, programmed to battle against. Uh, the whole idea of the show is kind of crazy when you sit down and think about why do the grown-ups sit in safety and send kids out to protect them when it should be the other way around? What happened to humanity? Why do these kids not know anything of anything other than very minimal things? And it's kind of neat to see how each of these characters progresses in their personality and their storylines. Um, they all have a very similar upbringing, so it's not like they're coming from different places, but um, it really is a great show. I can't talk it up enough, and it might be a special I look at doing in the future. So don't be surprised if one of our next anime related specials is Darling in the Franxx. I would just have to see who I could get from the series to come on and be on the show with us. Hina Matsuri is another show that we've been watching. That's a crazy one in and of itself. That one I didn't know what to think of. Uh, I really didn't give it a second glance when I first saw it on the simuldub page because I kind of go based off of I'll look at the description quickly or I'll look at the characters and the picture that they show, and I really didn't think much of it until I saw a small video clip of Amanda Lee voicing her character where she had to sing a song. And it was because of that clip of her singing the specific song that her character sings in the show that I said, you know what, I need to watch this. And I've really been enjoying it. It gives you a lot of life lessons. It gives you a lot of different points of view on basic um, necessities of life. You get to see a young girl who's got special abilities where she can make things, she can use telekinetic powers and make things fly or things of that nature. She winds up um, falling basically into the home of of a yakuza member and ends up living there, kind of sort of becoming his daughter unofficially. Another girl from the same world as the first girl shows up. She ends up not being able to go back home and starts living as a homeless person. Walking streets, collecting cans to try to get a little bit of money for food and things of that nature. So you get to see, life from a few different points of view, and the storyline just went from there, and it really has been quite intriguing. I don't want to go into too much of the storylines of these shows because, I want you guys to tune into them. I want you to check them out for yourselves and give an honest opinion. Open your mind, open your hearts, and see what you think of these shows. Now, these shows aren't for everybody, and I of anybody know that for a fact that you're not going to like everything because some of the most popular shows out there I don't watch or I didn't care about, and that includes shows like Sword Art Online and Attack on Titan. I just could not get into either one of those shows, but I know why they have a big following. I know I can understand how good the shows are based off of the little bit that I've seen of them, but they just don't interest me. They don't fit into what uh, just my interests or genres that I really enjoy watching. Uh, Good God, I continue to get messages to distract me. Uh, Gotta love live radio. And another show like that I've been watching, the other one that drops on Thursdays, is Kakurio Bed and Breakfast for Spirits. It's a story of a young girl named Aoi who ends up, as a young girl, she is able to see um, spirits. And her grandfather had the ability. She ends up with her grandfather for a short period of time until he passes on. She then finds out that her grandfather has been passing between the world of the human realm and the spirit realm and has racked up quite a bit of debt, to which he promises, um, as collateral, his granddaughter to become the wife of the owner and head of Tenjinya, a bed and breakfast for spirits. That's where the story begins. She refuses the proposal to be uh, his bride. She decides then, after talking with some other yokai, about opening up her own little restaurant, and that's where the story has progressed. So you've gotten to see a little bit here. I think there are about 4 or 5 episodes in the English dub. Um, the characters are cute. Uh, there's Ice Demon, Fox Demon. The master of Tenjinya is an org. Um, so, and you get to see spider demons, and you get to see how this human girl, who basically most spirits would just view her as lunch or dinner, really, makes a name for herself little by little in Tenjinya as, she tries to become an employee. So it's neat to see how this continues on, and uh, I'm curious to see exactly where they're going to go from there. Another show that I recently started watching just because I wanted to find something else to add to the amount of anime I'm already watching, which I don't have the time to keep up on anyway, is Katana Maidens. This one threw me from a loop right from episode one. Now, I didn't know what to expect. I saw it was a show about a bunch of young women who were able to wield swords. And so in the back of my head, I kind of pictured it as a little bit of a Senran Kaguya type anime, where in Senran they train to become ninjas, move in stealth, but there's a lot of battles, a lot of sword battles, things of that nature. And right from the get go, I was wrong. You get to see a lot of sword battling, a lot of skill with sword fighting and things of that nature, but then one of the girls ends up turning her blade not against her opponent in the school tournament, but against the head of the person who is putting on the tournament, and that's where the story begins. Um, they are already in. I don't know if they're in a second season or extended first season, multiple episodes. I am very far behind on. I only started watching that earlier this week, so I'm probably about 4 or 5 episodes in. So I am quite a ways behind the dub of their show. Hopefully, after this weekend or by next weekend, I'll be able to be caught up to where it is on the simul dub. But it really has piqued my interest. It's neat to see how these two girls end up on the run, the help that they're getting, who's helping them, why are they helping them, and why are the people who are trying to stop them and bring them back to face judgment for their crimes end up letting them go. So it's kind of neat to see how the storyline has progressed. I have no idea where it's going to go. If you have seen ahead of like episode 4 or 5, please don't tell me because I want to see it all and experience it all for myself for the first time as just going through. Um, but it is a lot of fun to keep up on a lot of these shows. Of course, High School DxD, we're still keeping up with that one. That show is as good as ever. Still getting used to the new art style. It's not a bad art style, it's just different, and sometimes it takes a little while to get used to different stuff when you're used to certain things. But like any type of art style, um, you see a long running comic like a Spider Man, a Superman. Every artist will draw the same character a little bit different. The line work may be different, a certain shape might be different, and it takes you a little bit to get used to each minor change in a character's look. The new studio for High School DxD does the artwork quite a bit different from what the old um, studio did, but it's the same cast, it's the same characters, it's the same basic storyline. Um, So I'm trying to get past the new look, but I'm still enjoying the storyline. Ife is still a fun character. You still get the same amount of curses and nudity and craziness that you've gotten from right from episode one. Um, but you've seen how many of the characters have progressed in their development, including Konako, who in season three completely threw me for a loop. I wasn't expecting to see the transformation in that character that I did. So if you haven't seen season three, or if you haven't even started High School DxD and you are above 18 years of age, because it is a TVMA, definitely something to check out. It's not for kids. And I know I say that, and youngsters out there are like, I want to see that now, but it really, you should check it out. It's a great show. And that might be one that we look at too. And there are so many fantastic shows out there that I would love to do specials on, but you know, I don't want to bombard the scheduling constantly with every week having these anime specials because I think we would annoy the hell out of a lot of the wonderful voice actors who we've become friends with and have had on the show, and they have busy schedules and they're not always available to join us. Um, but we are excited tonight. Like I said, we have one of those specials with our My Hero Academia special. So, right after the commercial break, we are going to be focusing on My Hero Academia, the storyline, the characters, and we are excited, excited, excited to have three amazing voice actors from the show joining us. And that is Morgan Berry, who voices Pro Hero 13. We have Jessica Cavanagh, who voices Inko Midoriya, the mother of Deku. And then we also have Anthony Bowling, who voices Class 1B student Hiryu Rin. So it's going to be a lot of fun to talk to everybody tonight. It's going to be crazy. Like any other time when we have multiple guests on, I have no idea where this conversation's going to go, what's going to happen, but I do know that we have a lot of fun with it. It's always a pleasure to put on these anime related specials, and it's going to be a lot of fun talking to Morgan and Anthony again. And this is our Anime-Zing radio debut for Jessica Cavanagh. It's going to be her first time joining us. We are excited that she um, has rescheduled. She was supposed to be with us back in April, but had to reschedule due to the fact of a scheduling conflict with a theater performance. Um, but she will be coming on in June on the 24th, a couple weeks after KidsCon, and so we're excited to have her on, twice in about a month's time, so we can chat about My Hero Academia and then B about her entire career as a voice actor. So good things coming up. Uh, Coming up next week, we do have another great show that I want to get everybody out there excited for. We're going to have our friend Jim Taylor, talented comic artist, a good friend of ours. Last year, we um, were excited to vend at Broadbrook Comic Con, which Jim hosted a beautifully run small show. We did quite well considering the fact it was a small show in a small town we had never heard of, we'd never been to before. Um, but the people were friendly. It was a good atmosphere. The location was nice. Nice small little building, very old style um, Comic Con, where it was basically focused on the vendors, the artists, the comic creators. No big guests, no panels. Come on in, check out what everybody has to offer, and just have a good time basically. And we really had so much fun, and we um, hope that we'll be able to attend another convention that he puts on in the future. That night, we're also excited because we're going to have some great co hosts. Douglas Shute from Victory Condition Gaming is going to be joining us in the co host seat, along with his daughter, Sydney, who also appears on the Victory Condition Gaming's tube channel. The two of them do a lot of reviews on games, tabletop games, and Sydney has a project she's been working on that they think they'll be able to talk about by that point in time. I will touch base with them just to make sure. If they're not able to, obviously, we totally respect that because when you're doing voiceover projects and you're doing certain projects, contractually, you cannot talk about certain things. So we totally understand that and respect the privacy and the contracts of our guests. So we'll see what happens with that next week. Um, but we've got to go to our bottom of the hour break. When we come back, we should have Anthony Bowling, Morgan Berry.
Hey convention goers, are you looking for a costume for your next convention? A fursuit or perhaps cosplay accessories such as animal ears and tails? Maybe you're looking for that one-of-a-kind art piece of your favorite anime or video game character. Look no further. Check us out at www.kaycreations.weebly.com or our online store at www.etsy.com/shop/KC And be sure to use the code AZR10, all capital letters, for $10 off any of our art commission offers. KC Creations is a proud sponsor of Anime-Zing Radio, here on the Blog Talk Radio Network.
Hey, this is Morgan Berry from Funimation, and you're listening to Anime-Zing Radio on the Blog Talk Radio Network.
Good evening, everybody. This is Anime-Zing Radio here on the Blog Talk Radio Network. I'm your host, Doug Engler, and welcome to our My Hero Academia special. We are excited tonight because we have two amazingly talented voice actresses from My Hero Academia who are able to join us. Anthony Bowling, we have not been able to get in contact with, so we're hoping he may be able to join us. Scheduling conflicts occur all the time, especially in the voice acting world, so we totally understand if he's unable to make it, and we'll try to see what we can do about getting him back on the show at another point. But we are really excited tonight because we have Morgan Berry and Jessica Cavanagh joining us, and they voice two of the more interesting characters from My Hero Academia. Morgan Berry is the voice of 13, the pro hero, whose quirk is being able to suck everything up into her finger. And Jessica Cavanagh has the honor of voicing Inko Midoriya, the mother of the main character Deku. And ladies, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Awesome.
And it's always fun to do these specials because I get to talk to multiple voice actors at once, especially on a show that I'm really into. And Jessica, I'll start with you. What has it been like to be a part of a show that has taken off in popularity like My Hero Academia has?
Oh man, it's so cool because I mean, I love the fact that it's taken off and it's the kind of show that it is. You know, I think it's just such an uplifting, like, heartwarming thing, and especially I love playing the character that I'm playing. I feel like I get her as a mom, and so it means a lot to me to be a part of a show that people love as much as they do, and to me encourages all of us to be ourselves, and it just has such a freaking great message, and yeah, it's been great.
And how about you, Morgan?
Well, I mean, I was a fan before I even got cast in the series, so man, it's a huge honor to be a part of it. I love the story. I love stories where the underdog, you know, just comes out on top, and I love superheroes, and man, I love Deku. I love his character so much because he just wants to be a hero. He just wants to help people, and he's like one of the few that actually ends up not having a quirk. And it's man, it's so sad, and you see him break down in tears as he points at the computer screen, just rewatching that video over and over again, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my baby, I just want to hug him, you know? And Jessica, I'm sure you feel that way. You voicing for his mother.
Oh my gosh, no. Yes, that scene just broke my heart, and especially that she kind of says the wrong thing in that moment. It's like, oh man, mom fail.
Right.
But yeah, no,
it's heartbreaking.
So good.
She just didn't know what to say, and so she said the only thing that she really felt she could say. Oh man.
Yeah, and
dude,
what she thought would protect him from being hurt later on, you know, like, oh, it's just so sad though. So wrong.
Man, it's a great series. It's so emotional, and just to see the journey that his character goes throughout each season. It's man, I love it. Oh man, it's a great show.
Now, for you, Jessica, being the mother or voicing Deku's mom, it's got to be quite the roller coaster of emotions for you when you're recording and just seeing the stuff that your on-air son is going through. And I'm sure that goes through your mind of, how would I feel if my child was going through this? Are there times when you leave a recording session and you're just like, okay, it's time to come back to reality. I got to get emotions back in check because it is a very an emotional show, and I found myself at times, being overrun by emotions, whether they be happy, sad, anger, or whatever.
Yeah, Doug, I'll tell you, Colleen and I have definitely shed some tears in the studio during those scenes. Like, Colleen's a relatively young mom, and I'm a mom, and yeah, those moments for her, she's so well written, and I think she just resonates with us as moms so much, and we both have ended up in tears several times because we just so get her. And yeah, and I have a son, and of course he's what's in my head when I'm recording those. I mean, I'm saying those things to him, and I feel every single bit of it. So it's that's what I mean. Like, it's such a joy to work on a show like that, where it's like it can be so personal and so yeah, I don't know. It feels like a heart project versus just a job,
And it's one of those shows that the story itself is so well written, and my hat's off to the creators of My Hero Academia, not just for a tremendous storyline that it plays with all emotions. There are times when you're pulling for the underdog, or you're pulling for Bakugo or Ochako or Sue or whoever, just to get through whatever they're going through. And then there are times when it's just tugging at your heartstrings. There are times where it's like, dude, you're being an ass. It plays with so many emotions. So I can just imagine. I have no acting talent. I can't say no acting talent, but I have no acting experience. So I can only imagine what it's like for you guys when you're recording in the booth. And I know that you perform plays and stuff as well. So it's got to be interesting to be able to pull off of, real life experiences just to add that much more realism to the character in the booth.
Yeah. Short answer, yes. Yeah, it's yeah, I mean, it just doesn't always happen that you get to bring a lot of yourself into a character. I mean, there are always aspects of yourself in whatever you play, because that's just the nature of it. But to be able to just fully understand this mom and fully feel everything that she's feeling, it's a gift as an actor to get to do that, to get to do something so close to your own heart.
And for you, Morgan, you have a whole different perspective when it comes to your character. You are a professional hero. You've been a professional for a while, and you are brought in to help train this young class of encouraged future heroes, a new generation. So you have to come in and kind of guide them and help them grow their quirks and learn their abilities. What's it like from your perspective with 13 to be more of a instructor as opposed to a personal relationship with the characters?
I've actually been teaching kids for years. I was a performing arts teacher for oh my gosh, for so long. And I was also involved in the children's ministry at my church. And so I've been working with kids and teaching kids for years. And so it's really cool to be able to voice for a teacher. And, he like as a teacher myself, in 13, they are so supportive of their students. And it's great. And every time I see people cosplay as the UA students at conventions, I'm like, oh my gosh, my students, my babies. It's just it's nice to be able to relate to a character in that way. And 13 is that for me. Like 13 cares for their students and wants to see them grow and be the best that they can be. And honestly, that's how I feel whenever I teach kids. And yeah, it's nice that I have that connection with the character.
That's awesome. And there have been times, and I know when you were on with us last night, the question had come up about if you could have any quirk other than the one that your character has, what would it be? And you had said the quirk of flight and fire.
Yeah, because I mean, dude, it'd be cool. It'd be so convenient to fly everywhere, and also fire. Come on, like every time I play Skyrim, I'm gonna be a mage and I'm gonna have firepower. That's my go-to thing. So yeah, if I could do that in real life, that'd be pretty sweet.
But now, the creators of this show, and I touched on this in the first segment a little bit, it's amazing to me how they were able to get so many, not just so many characters in, but they had to come up with quirks for every single one of these characters. And there's more that are still coming in as they are progressing on with the storyline. And for somebody like me, it boggles my mind the creativity that these people have, that they're able to come up with all of these different quirks. Um, what do you think? What was your first impersonation when you were told about the show, or you first found out about My Hero Academia, and all the different quirks that were going on, and that they were calling the abilities quirks?
Oh, our first impression of all the quirks.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, they're all so unique. Some of them are a little weird. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's this one guy who his only power is, I guess, being a firefighter. I don't know. Like, he looks like a fire hydrant, and I'm like, why and how? What is this? So there are some weird quirks and some weird deformities. I don't know. They're like, was he born looking like a fire hydrant? What is this?
I really have to say, I love that they're called quirks. I love the whole concept behind the way they're handled and the way they're looked at, and the fact that they're called quirks. There's something about it that, I don't know, there's just like a warmth to that. There's and the fact that people want to have quirks. It's the opposite of like the X-Men, where it's like the mutants and you don't want to be weird and different, and instead it's like, no, you want these things. You want these things. And I think that's just such a positive message all on its own. You know what I mean? Like, we want our uniquenesses. We want our differences. Our differences are cool. And I don't know, maybe that's looking at it a little broadly, but that's one of the reasons
great.
I like the show
Celebrating
so much,
differences.
That's what I was gonna say as well. Was the story itself is great because it shows everybody that you all have something unique that you can bring, and you need to be proud of that. Not don't listen to the people who make fun of you for a disability, how you look, how you talk, or whatever. Be proud of who you are. And do your best to be yourself, not try to do things for others because of, you're trying to impress people. Do things for others because it's the correct thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can all always use the message over and over again, as is evidence on the news every night, that being different is positive. It's good. We need each other. We need to all be different. We need to all have different strengths so that we can depend on each other. And finding those things as something to be yearned after rather than something to not want is, I just think, just such a positive thing in the show. And the fact that our lead character wants a quirk, he wants something unique to make him feel, and of course he has these wonderful parts of himself that we all know why we're rooting for Deku. But yeah, I just love the whole concept that people, that in this universe, people want these uniquenesses. They seek them out. They're glad to have them.
Definitely. And the show itself has taken on a life of its own, and I've watched quite a bit of anime since I first got into finding out what anime was, thanks to a friend of mine who we used to get together on like Wednesday nights, have a penny poker night, and then we'd watch Inuyasha on Adult Swim. So that's how long ago it was when I first got into the world of anime. She was watching it, was like, "You have to check this out," and that was about the time of Inuyasha, Witch Hunter Robin, and Fooly Cooly, and that was like an hour and a half block of Adult Swim time that we would watch. And
Hmm.
from there, I've probably seen over 200 different animes. So you get to see storylines, and you get to notice different trends based on, a 2 or 3 year trend of, a lot of video game based animes have come out. Uh, and a lot of like, there's always going to be the high school harem animes and, you know,
Mhm.
sports animes and whatnot. But My Hero Academia is in my opinion, is kind of like cutting edge because it doesn't really fit the mold of most animes that I've watched. It shows a lot of differences. It shows a lot of pride. It shows a lot of teamwork and helping each other out because the differences, you know, make each other stronger as opposed to, well, he looks like a bird, so let's make fun of him. No, the fact he looks like a bird actually helps you out in certain situations.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, dude. Like, how did he end up looking like that? I mean, when are we gonna see his parents? I really want to know. Like, I want to know more about him.
I know that and we were talking a little bit about how the storyline has, they've shown a lot of back history on, of course, Izuku and All Might and Bakugo, and a little bit on Tenya and Todoroki. They even touched a little bit on Ochako, but you don't see a lot of back history on many of the other characters. Um, and there was a big debate on Facebook about, are they going to focus more on some of the female characters outside of Ochako to give their characters more life? People like Sue or Momo. How did they get their quirks? Why are they? What's some of their backstory? Why do they want to become heroes? And looking at it, Morgan, why do you think 13 became a hero?
13 has such a good heart. There's this one monologue that I got to say, and it basically talks about, your quirks were meant to help people. Help people, not don't use your quirks to hurt people, Be a real hero. And I think 13's mission is to spread that word, and I support it, that's what we're called to do as superheroes, is to specifically to help people and to use these unique quirks to save lives.
And for you, Jessica, you are you voice Deku's mom, who doesn't have a quirk, which is one of the reasons why Deku didn't have a quirk to begin with. Um, if you could have a
Wait,
quirk in the
she has a quirk.
No, she
She
does
does a
have a quirk actually.
oh, she
I
does
mean,
have a
it's like
quirk.
a pretty minor quirk, but yeah. I mean, like, yeah, she can like make things come to her.
I didn't know that. Did I just not follow that
Yeah,
much of the storyline with her
first
when I was?
episode.
The
It was
very
the first episode when yeah, they're in the doctor's
Ah,
office and she like explained.
yeah.
oh, okay.
So it's very minor, but yeah, it's there.
See, I'm learning stuff here too. You were worried about, not knowing much about the show, and here I am. I missed something right from episode 1. So, uh, but we've got to actually go to our top of the hour break. When we come back, we're going to have more with Morgan Berry and Jessica Cavanagh, more fun about My Hero Academia. So stay tuned for more Anime-Zing Radio right here on the Blog Talk Radio Network.
Looking for anime-themed school or office supplies? Home Circle Media's got them. Our binders, notebooks, folders, and sketchbooks are both fun and practical, featuring colorful graphics from your favorite shows. We also carry an ever-changing selection of official art and guidebooks. From gorgeous full-color illustrations to line drawings and storyboards, go behind the scenes for a look at how your favorite characters and worlds were created. Visit www.homecirclemedia.com today or catch us on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube.
I'm Chise from the Ancient Magus' Bride, and you're listening to Anime-Zing Radio on the Blog Talk Radio Network.
And welcome back to Anime-Zing Radio here on the Blog Talk Radio Network. I'm your host, Doug Engler. We are so excited tonight. We are joined by two extremely talented voice actresses, both who appear in the anime My Hero Academia, because this is our My Hero Academia special. Please welcome back to the show Morgan Berry, the voice of Pro Hero 13, and Jessica Cavanagh, the voice of Inko Midoriya, Deku's mother.
Hey.
Hello.
I want to once again thank you, ladies, for joining us tonight. It's a pleasure to have both of you on, hanging out with us. We've had fun talking about My Hero Academia and some of your experiences with the show. What are some of the funnier moments that have happened in the booth while recording? I know the show has a lot of serious moments. There's some silly moments, and I know there are times when you just let loose, or your tickle box gets turned and you start laughing for a random reason. What are some of the funny things that have happened in the booth?
For me, I just laugh at her all the time. Her little, Deku, like she's so over the top, like with her concern, and Colleen and I both have a good time just laughing at her silliness. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know that I've gotten the giggles so badly that I couldn't, do the line or anything. She just kind of tickles me right when I start.
And how about you, Morgan?
You know what? I can't really think of a moment where I was laughing in booth, I guess. But I mean, there is that scene though where 13 goes up against Uraraka, and and then she confesses. Well, she doesn't really confess. She's been caught in her little crush, and that scene was funny because I'm just like, oh, I ship those two so much, and so it just. To record for that scene, that was just, so I had a little fangirl moment in the booth because they're just so cute. Uraraka and Deku, they're just perfect for each other. I ship them. They're so cute. And so in that moment in the booth, getting to, witness that scene because 13 was a part of it, it was fun.
And it's funny you talk about the shipping aspect. A lot of fans talk about that Deku and Ochako should get together. I'm a little different. I think that Deku should hook up or date Sue. That's who I think he should be with.
Oh, I didn't. I didn't think of that.
I don't know why I could see those two making a good couple, but I can. Because I know that he helps Ochako out a lot in confidence and help her to better herself and push herself more. But he seems to click better with Sue in certain scenes than he does Ochako, in my mind.
Oh. Well, to each their own.
Pretty much. That's kind of the fun thing about discussions like this is you get a different point of view and it opens your mind up to a different possibility. As Deku's mom, who would you want to see him with?
Oh, as Deku's mom, I just want him to be happy. So I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. Whatever makes him happy.
And this really tricked the turn for the weird. That's the beauty of live radio. And Morgan can tell you, I don't have a script. I don't have pre-planned questions or things like that. I do the entire show improv. So when things like that happen, I now think to myself, why did I ask that? I sounded probably like an idiot now. But that's the beauty of live radio.
No way. You did not sound like an idiot.
And now I forgot what the next question was I was going to ask. Good God. I suffer from shiny object syndrome so bad sometimes. It's ridiculous. And Mario in the chat room says, dramatic stare. No, Ochako is the way to go. Hello, Mario. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for the friend request earlier. It's great to finally get a chance to chat with you. And don't be afraid if you have questions or comments to shoot them our way. I know the ladies would love to hear questions from the fans, not just me.
Yeah.
Now, with
Oh yes, for sure. Do it.
now, what is it like working with Colleen? I know that she is a talented voice actress herself. I admire a lot of her roles. Would love to have her as a guest, but I know she has a very busy schedule, and it's always tough to try to get in contact with her. But what has she been like as a director to work under?
Well, I love working with Colleen. Colleen and I have a very similar background in that we're both theater actors first, and so there's just kind of a nice shared language that we have that I think we both enjoy being able to do that, and we kind of have similar sensibilities, as far as what we like and the interpretation of the role and everything. So, yeah, it's just like a really comfortable, fun, relaxed, great time with Colleen for me.
Yeah, and it's nice too because she is also a fan of the shows she works on, including My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to be able to work with a director who appreciates the show, the project, the art just as much as the actors do. And it makes it extra fun because we all have a mutual respect for it.
And coming from a fan perspective, some shows you can tell when everybody involved just has like not just a passion, but like their passion level goes up, whether it's because of it hits personal reasons that you connect with characters, or whatnot. My Hero Academia, I think, has set the bar for being one of the best shows all around because you can just feel the emotion in the shows. And as a voice actor, I always viewed voice acting as a more difficult skill than stage acting because you've got to put everything you have to bring this character to life, and you only have your voice to do that with, which really, like, I admire the work you guys do more than, say, a Hollywood actor or things of that nature. Not that their jobs aren't difficult because they have to bring characters to life, but they have their entire bodies where you pretty much just have your voice and tones. And when you sit down and really think of the subtleties and all the emotions that you have to convey through your voice, you guys really do a traumatic job. Or a tremendous job, not traumatic, a tremendous job at bringing the characters to life.
Thank you. Traumatic. Oh man.
Traumatic. That was that question.
Hey, in
Good.
some situations we need to. The scene needs to be traumatic.
I mean, I think you're right in that there's a level of skill involved with voice acting that is very particular to voice acting, and that is and that you are limited in that one part of yourself. The only thing I would posit about is that a voice actor gets many takes to do it, and it's all usually done within a couple of days. And then a theater actor has to do it every night, so for a long time. So I mean, I think I think comparing the two disciplines is actually really hard. And I totally hear what you're saying, but I think that comparing any two disciplines, any kind of actor, a movie actor, a theater actor, a voice actor, they're all very particular skills. They're all very unique disciplines, and have different, positives and different challenges.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I agree.
And I'm sure that you gain a lot of skills from one that can help you do better in the others as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think both ways. Yeah, for sure.
And with My Hero Academia in its third season, I did catch the episode that dropped yesterday. I have been able to keep up with it. Thankfully, I have figured out a way through my busy schedule of watching like an episode before work to keep up because I think I'm up to 6 or 7 of the simul dubs right now that I'm watching. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, I think 6 or 7 simuldubs that I'm watching right now and trying to keep up with is not always easy with a 65-hour work week. And a question coming in from the chat room. It says, already here's a question for Morgan. As a hardcore fan, we want to try to keep tonight's show based on My Hero Academia, but I will throw it out because Mario did throw it out there. It is a Love Live question for you, Morgan. Want to know which group do you think had it harder in terms of hardship, Muse or Aqua?
Oh, in all honesty, both shows are very similar. You know, Love Live and Love Live Sunshine. Oh wow.
Talk about a curveball question.
Right. Well, the thing is, in the end of Sunshine, the school ends up getting shut down. So I'd say Aqua.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting a question for Love Live to come up. I don't know why, because it's such a popular show. So that one threw me off. I started reading it, and I'm like, wait, this isn't an MHA question, but we'll go with it anyway. Thank you, Mario, for the question. If you have any My Hero Academia-related questions, feel free to ask. And I know that we'll have Morgan on again in the future, as well as Jessica's going to be coming back on the 24th. So if you have questions related to their careers outside of My Hero Academia, please come back on those when we have them on again. And I know I'd be more than happy to any questions that you have. It's one of the greatest things that I found with the voice acting community is you all love your fans, you respect your fans, and in the world of acting, you hear horror stories all the time when it comes to Hollywood. It's cutthroat, blah 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 blah. But the voice acting world, you guys root for each other. You're so friendly and so open and so loving of the fandom. Who love the characters that you create. I think it's just absolutely amazing, and I thank you guys for the job that you guys do to provide so much entertainment for us, the fans.
Well, thank you. I mean, we love what we do.
Yeah. I mean, we get back as much as we give. I would say more.
And have you guys been able to do any My Hero Academia panels at conventions since it's been out?
No, I
want
to though.
Have you? Yeah, I haven't.
Nope.
And one of the reasons that I asked, as I know at Anime Boston, it was Easter weekend, and Funimation aired the first 2 episodes of season 3 at Anime Boston before they were aired to everybody else, and they had multiple voice actors from My Hero Academia, and so I was curious because they had a lot of panels that revolved around that. They had specific autograph sessions that were My Hero Academia related, and so I was curious if you guys, knowing that you guys are a big part of the show as well, if you had experiences. And Morgan, I know that we talked a little bit about cosplaying your characters, and you said 13 is one that you would want to do. Are there any characters from My Hero that you would want to cosplay as, Jessica?
Oh, I mean, I think I would just have to go as myself. Like, just put on my little blue skirt, my little pink shirt, and just show up and be like, hi. I mean, like, I don't know what else I would want to do besides actually.
Now, have you had a lot of experiences with My Hero Academia fans, especially the different cosplayers from the show?
Dude,
yeah,
the cosplayers are everywhere.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love the fans of this show, and I love that they love my character. It's so lovely. They're like, "Oh, best mom ever!" whenever they see me. So it's just fun. It's just a joy.
And we have about 10 minutes left before we got to go to our next commercial break. But I wanted to give you each a couple minutes just to promote yourself, any shows that you can talk about, any upcoming appearances, social media. Morgan, we'll start with you. Feel free to promote yourself in our shameless plugging section.
Cool beans. Well, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook pages at the Morgan Berry. It's the same handle for everything except my YouTube is the only difference. On YouTube, I'm under The Unknown Songbird, and I do song covers of songs from anime shows. I adapt the lyrics from Japanese to English, and I sing it. And it's a lot of fun, so feel free to check that out. And as far as, I guess projects I'm a part of, I'm a part of this web series called God School, and I play Eris, and the art is beautiful. I'm super excited to get that out there. So if any of you guys want to look that up, feel free to look up God School on Instagram. The art is gorgeous.
And how about you, Jessica? The floor is yours.
Oh man. Well, the thing I'm really excited about right now is I'm a staff writer at Funimation, and I'm working on Golden Kamuy as a writer, and I'm also working on Katana Maidens, which is still continuing. And yeah, I'm just really, really enjoying that aspect of my career right now. Just working on improving, and I don't know, I've fallen in love with writing. I'm also, a lot of my attention right now is on a play that I've written that's like an autobiographical play that's being produced here in Dallas that I'm also starring in, and it's running right now, and it's kind of everything that's happening in my life right now feels writing related, and I'm kind of loving it. I've been an actor my whole life, and this is kind of just a new direction for me, and I'm just kind of on fire about it. So yeah, that's kind of what's happening with me right now.
Nice.
And it's got to be neat when you can transition from acting into script writing. I know a lot of the voice actors at Funimation have gone into ADR directing and producing shows. And what is it like to make the transition and take the experience of being an actor into other talent amongst the anime and even the acting world?
I'm sorry, you cut out for a second for me, and so I was kind of hoping you were talking to Morgan. Can you repeat what you said?
Sorry about
There's a delay on my end, and so.
Sorry about that. Sometimes this headset just does what it wants to. What I was asking was, being an actor and a voice actress for a long period of time and having a lot of experience in that, how has the transition gone from taking that experience and putting it into writing scripts for plays or even the shows?
Yeah, I mean, it's all just so really, I mean, it's all just mashed up into one thing in my head, you know. I think definitely my experience in the booth helps as a writer. I understand, you know, there's just a nice shorthand that's already there with knowing how something can come across in the booth versus someone who's writing who doesn't have that experience. And then the same, I mean, I think the acting feeds the writing and the writing feeds the acting too. I think becoming a writer gives you a different perspective on scripts as an actor as well. And yeah, I just love it. It's starting to feel just like one big mashed up wonderful thing that I get to do. And yeah, I just feel really grateful.
Awesome. And Katana Maidens is the latest simuldub that I have started watching. I started watching it this week, so I'm only about 5 episodes in, and I know I have a long way to go to catch up, but I figured I would use that in the downtime from when I was waiting for other episodes to drop, because I'm a glutton for punishment. And I mentioned it in the first segment. I know we've kind of gotten away from the My Hero Academia aspect of the special, but when I first, read the quick synopsis that Funimation has out, and I went based off of the picture, the first show that popped into my head that I thought this was going to be like was Senran Kaguya. And from episode 1, I knew I was completely wrong in that assumption, but the storyline has me just drawn into where it's like I need to see what happens next, but I can only watch one episode because I've got 5 minutes to get into my work and clock in and start working on cars. So
well, good. Man, I'm glad that it pulls you in. That's great.
and I've really enjoyed it, and I like some of the shows that I watch, especially nowadays. You see a lot of them follow similar patterns and storylines. The storyline's different, but you can kind of gauge where things are going to happen, especially when you watch them as in depth as I do. Um, but My Hero Academia has had many twists and turns, and I've noticed that Tana Maidens has had a lot of twists and turns that I didn't expect right from episode one. So I like shows like that that
Mm.
kind of keep you guessing and keep you on the edge a little bit.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. No one likes to be completely, to watch something completely predictable. I mean, yeah.
And we've got to go to our bottom of the hour break. But, ladies, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. It has truly been a pleasure. I want to extend the invite if you are able to stick around for the last segment of the show where we just kind of talk about anything and everything. You're more than welcome to. If you have to run, I totally understand. And I thank you both for coming on and hanging out with us tonight.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you,
us.
Doug. You know what? I actually do have to run, and I have a good reason. I'm going to tell you. It is that my father is in town for my show this weekend, and he is sitting here patiently waiting for me to get off the phone, and so I can go eat dinner with him. So I thank you so much for having me. This was a blast. I have loved it.
Awesome. And thank you again, Morgan, for coming on as well. It's always a pleasure chatting with you, and I look forward to having both of you back on the show in the near future. Jessica, I know we have you coming back on the 24th when we can talk more about
Yes, sir.
all of your career, not just being Inko. And we're extremely looking forward to that.
Thank you. Me too. Can't wait.
And once again, Morgan, thank you again for joining us. It's always a pleasure having you on with us as well.
Oh, thanks, man. You rock.
We've got to go to our bottom of the hour break, but once again, we want to thank Morgan Berry and Jessica Cavanagh for joining us for our My Hero Academia special. When we come back, we're going to be chatting about anything and everything that's anime or pop culture related. So stay tuned for more Anime-Zing Radio right here on the Blog Talk Radio Network.
Do you love sweets, games, and pop culture? Then come down to Grace by Crystal Rose. Located at Anime-Zing Escape in McDonough. Enjoy the delicious handmade cakes personally to your liking. Play awesome party games with your friends and family. Get a feel of Japanese pop culture right here in your hometown. No need to fly all the way to Japan. Our maid waitresses are awaiting for your arrival. Grace by Crystal Rose. Call 770-914-8282 for more information.
Hello, this is Ciel Phantomhive, and you're listening to Anime-Zing Radio. I hope you like it.
Good evening and welcome back to Anime-Zing Radio here on the Blog Talk Radio Network. I'm your host, Doug Engler. We once again want to thank Jessica Cavanagh and Morgan Berry for joining us tonight for our My Hero Academia special. It was a lot of fun getting to talk to the voices of 13 and Inko Midoriya. And unfortunately, we were never able to hear from Anthony Bowling, who was originally scheduled to join us, but I know a lot of things happen in the world of voice acting. Schedules can change last minute, and so definitely thank everybody for coming on, and all of you out there for tuning in tonight. It's been a lot of fun talking My Hero Academia, finding out some of the behind the scenes things, what it's like for the voice actors who help bring the show to life. It really is a phenomenal show, and if you haven't seen it, give it a shot. Like, I learned tonight that Inko does have a quirk. You only see it in episode 1 in season 1, and they're in season 3, and I watched it so long ago, I forgot or I wasn't paying attention. So I need to pay more attention when I'm watching these shows, because they always throw so much little stuff in there that if you're not really like fully focused on, you're gonna miss stuff. So excited to see how My Hero Academia progresses in the future. So like I said, once again, we are extremely happy and thankful that Morgan Berry and Jessica were able to come on and hang out with us for the last hour. Of course, check out their social media, check out the shows that they're in. Follow them on social media. Check out Morgan's YouTube channel. She has a phenomenal job at singing. We've played a few of her songs on the air here. We played one tonight. We played a couple last night as well. So be sure to check out all the work that they do, whether it's on stage. Jessica's got the theater performance that she has going on. Um, to hear that she's gone into script writing, screenwriting, it's neat to hear that aspect. We'll find out more about what that's like on June 24th when Jessica comes back on and we talk more about her entire career, not just being, as some fans say, the best mom in anime, um, which she does a phenomenal job at being Inko Midoriya. So hats off to her. Hats off to everybody that's a part of My Hero Academia because there's so many different characteristics. There's so many different quirks and everything, and everybody has done a phenomenal job at bringing these characters to life. So hats off to everybody that's a part of the show. Um, Next week we are excited because it's been a while since we've had this guy on the show, and I kind of feel bad. We've been bringing back some of our old friends who have been away for too long, in my opinion, and we're going to have comic artist Jim Taylor is going to be joining us, and we are so excited to have him come back on. It's been too long, like I said. We're also going to have guest co-hosts. Uh, Joining us that night. It's fun to bring different people on to sit in the co-host seat, and it's always one thing to be the guest on a show. And I've had the honor of being a guest on a few different radio shows, whether it's years ago talking paranormal or more recently when I've gone on with 3.5 Geeks or some of the other podcasts that have been gracious enough to extend invitations to us. But it's easier to be asked a question than it is to come up and think of the questions. So it's fun when I can bring past guests on, whether they're artists, musicians, the voice actors themselves, and bring them on and put them in the co-host seat where they've kind of wear the other hat and they have the opportunity to talk to talented people. So it's going to be a lot of fun when we have Douglas and Sydney Shute from Victory Conditions Gaming. They will be in the co-host seat next week. Um, so a lot of fun is going to be going on there. It's going to be totally different from what they're used to, I'm sure. They do a lot of great videos on YouTube and talking about tabletop games, board games, things of the like, and they do a lot of reviews of indie games, which I think is really neat because you get to see some really creative games out there that people have put their heart and soul into creating and getting out there. And it's wonderful that they have a channel out where they can play the games, get a feel for them, and give you an honest review of the game. What the gameplay is like, where they think it could be better or worse or whatnot, what they like about it and things of that nature. So it's they do a tremendous job, and I think it's really cool that Douglas includes Sydney on the reviews of some of these games as well, because it gives you the perspective of not just from an adult, but it gives you a younger perspective as well. So they do a great job with that. We're excited about having them joining us on next Sunday. June 10th, we are not doing a live show. We will be at KidsCon New England up in Nashua, New Hampshire. A tremendous event that's put on by Emily Druin. We were excited to have Emily on the show with us earlier this month. KidsCon New England is a kids-friendly Comic-Con. It's geared towards providing entertainment, education through the use of creativity and comics. So it's neat to see how they interact with the kids, and they have a bunch of talented cosplayers, some amazing artists. They're going to be there, including Casey Creations. It's going to be our second year there, checking everything out. We have a table for the second year in a row, and it's really just a lot of fun to be a part of an event like this, because when most conventions we go to, as an artist, you're an artist alley. You're there to make money. You like making friends. You enjoy the experiences, but a lot of times you are there to make money. KidsCon is a different feel to it. It's not a convention that we focus on, trying to make money at. It's a convention that we focus on making sure that the kids have the time of their lives. Because so many times at some of these events, the children are overlooked, and conventions have done a wonderful job in recent years at trying to correct this problem, especially bigger conventions. Some Comic Cons have kid zones. They have kid areas where the kids can go and just have fun. They can color. They can create. They have the children's cosplay contests, and they're trying to keep the kids as a part of the event, not just something for the adults. And KidsCon last year, we heard adults saying, "I wish there was something here for us to do." But it's really it's the only it's one of the few events in the U.S. that I know of that's geared towards the kids. It's in a world where everybody's wrapped up in electronics. Everybody's on their cell phones playing video games. Some sort of electronic is in a child's hand way too much, in my opinion. But then again, I am old school, and yes, I use technology probably as much as anybody else, but that's the world we live in now. I think a lot of times it's easy for the younger generation to get away from being creative, you know, making up games, playing with cars, creating your own characters and drawing people and cars and stuff with crayons and stuff and things as you're younger. You kind of get away from that with the world of computers and video games and cell phones and tablets and everything. So I think it's a wonderful thing that Emily has done, and all of the people who put on these kid oriented conventions. Um, so if you are in New England, come on up to Nashua, New Hampshire. It's going to be at the Radisson. The hotel looks like a castle. You can see it from the highway. It's absolutely wonderful. We were so happy to be a part of the event last year. We're excited about coming back again this year. So if you're in the area, come on up. That's going to be June 10th. So check out kidsconne.com or search KidsCon on Google, KidsConNE on Google, and you can find out all the information about that. On June 17th, we are excited because we're going to have extremely talented cosplayer that we had the chance to meet at Anime Boston. I've followed this cosplayer on Instagram for quite a while, have chatted with her a few times via Instagram, and it was great to get to meet her in person at Anime Boston. Momochi Cosplay is going to be joining us. We're going to be talking about what got her into cosplay, all the characters that she has done, different experiences, different events that she's been at. So it's going to be a lot of fun having Momochi joining us. And then we round out June, as I said, with Jessica Cavanagh be coming back. We'll be talking with her about her career as a voice actress. We may touch on the stage and the script writing as well, because that stuff fascinates me. I love getting to learn more about these people who bring the characters to life that we all know and love. And it's so neat to find out more of a background on them, at least for me. I know some fans are like, just want to hear you do the voices, which they probably get asked that anytime they go out and get recognized. But I want to know more about them as people. It's always a pleasure to have anybody, all the guests that we have on the show, not just the voice actors. Because I mean, as much as I know some of our best shows are when we have the voice actors on, but if you tune in for the voice actors, tune in for everybody, because the cosplayers work unbelievably hard on their craft of putting together the costumes that they wear. The artists are all amazingly talented. The gamers, even the convention promoters that we have on. It's so much fun to get to know these people, get to help promote them, see their careers grow, whether it's the voice actors or the artists. And sometimes even the cosplayers can develop into more of a fandom and become more popular. And we've seen that with other friends of ours, including Chelsea Von Chastity, who has in the past couple of years been going throughout the U.S. as a guest at conventions, not just an attendee. So it's neat to see how far people have come from when you first become friends with them. It's the growth that we have seen through past guests has just been absolutely amazing to me, and I wouldn't trade this for the world. I mean, like anybody, it would be great to make money from doing stuff like this, but this is something I do because I love doing it. I love being able to communicate with people, connect people, give you guys, our listeners, a chance to ask questions of the voice actors who you admire, the people who bring to life the characters that you love. And it's always so much fun when we have the interactions. I thank Mario for having questions in the chat room tonight. Um, I thank you guys who listen in, whether it's via mobile app, whether it's at blogtalkradio.com. If you listen to us live, come into the chat room. I love the interaction. I love talking with people in the chat room. Always wish that there was more people because I love seeing a full chat room. I love seeing anime fans and comic fans and fans of the pop culture and anime industry talking and connecting with each other and seeing friendships built there. It's one of the reasons that I started doing this show is being able to connect people together, and I love being able to give back to the world of anime, which has helped me go through a lot of stuff in my personal life. Because we all have our story, we all have reasons that we watch anime or are into comic books or Marvel comics, the movies, the superheroes, whatever your main interest is, there are reasons that you go to it. It helps you to escape reality. It helps you just to get into a fantasy world. Things may be going great. You just enjoy it because it helps you get into another world. You get to be somebody else for a couple hours in a movie or a few episodes of a TV show or however long it takes you to read comics because some people read faster than others. So it gives you a chance to escape reality into another world and you get to be somebody different. And we all have our reasons why we want that escape, whether it's good, bad, indifferent. It's one thing that we all have in common. So it doesn't matter to me what their fandom is. If they're a fan of Harry Potter, if they're a fan of Star Trek or Star Wars or uh, anime or whatever the case may be, you have a fandom, you have something that you're passionate about, and I think that's something that you need to be proud of. In this day and age, everybody looks and points out everything different about somebody else, and there's so much negativity out there that I, to be honest, don't watch the news. I don't pay attention to it. I usually don't know what the weather forecast is until I open the door and go out, and it's like, oh look, it's sunny out. I hope it's warm. It's because when you start bringing in too much negativity and you start putting out too much negativity, that's all you're going to be surrounded by. And it's not always easy to stay positive in this day and age because you hear all these school shootings, you hear wars are going on, or this or that, and the media likes to feed you with so much negativity that it drives me insane. Which is one reason why I really don't watch the media. When it comes to the radio, I usually listen to sports talk because I like to hear how the talk show hosts interact with each other. It's one way of me trying to figure out ways of making myself better through other people's experiences. And B, I'm a big sports fan, and I enjoy a lot of the local Boston teams. But I'm not. Don't just stick with like the Patriots and Red Sox and Celtics and Bruins. Um, I like a lot of different sports. I'm a fan of different types of auto racing and uh, uh, basketball. I've recently gotten back interested in thanks to Brad Stevens with the Celtics. I didn't think they'd go on the run that they were on, but it's amazing to know that I'm kind of a part of, well, not kind of, but I am a part of the social media side of things, as opposed to just trying to avoid all the negativity out there. I want to try to provide positivity. I want to try to provide creativity, and just good things because everybody needs a break from the bad. Life happens. You can't always control certain situations, but if you can try to stay as positive as you can, I think that was beneficial for everybody. And if I can provide a little bit of an escape from whatever's troubling you, whatever's going on in your life, whether it's you're suffering from bullies at work or school, You have issues, you're worried about how you look because society judges you based on everything from race, color, religion, sexuality. It does, that stuff really should not matter. What matters, like with My Hero Academia, what we talked a lot about tonight is the differences are what makes each person better, not worse. And I think we need to stop judging people based on differences. Find out what you have in common, and you just might be amazed at the friendships that you can make because somebody is not like you, and you can learn so much from each other based on the experiences. Um, it's one of the greatest messages that My Hero Academia puts out there, and it's not. I think it's something that not many people look at the series and go, this is good because everybody's different and they accept it. A lot of people are like, oh, the storyline's great. This kid's trying to become a hero. He doesn't have a quirk. He then acquires a quirk through an unusual means, and the storyline progresses from there on how the kid's trying to become the greatest hero ever. And it's just neat to see a lot of the subtle messages that are not in the forefront of the show. And sometimes, I might delve a little too deep behind the scenes or look at a show and be like, okay, so what's the hidden message here? And I might try to dissect certain shows a little too much, but there's always something more than what is on the surface when you first watch a show. My wife and I have gone back and have started rewatching World End again. Um, and I stop at World End because the title is so freaking long. It's just easier just saying World End. Um, but there are things on it that now that I'm watching that I missed the first time through. So I think it's always good to go back and revisit shows that you've watched because you'll pick up something new, especially as you've gained more experience from watching other shows. You might pick up a voice actor that you didn't realize was in the show. You might hear their voice and be like, "Oh, that sounds like so and so from this show," or um, and that's part of the fun of watching so many shows too. It's like, okay, who can I guess who's voicing characters in this show? Oh, that sounds like Todd. That sounds like Colleen. That sounds like Morgan. That one sounds like Megan Shipman. That's definitely an Anthony Bowling character. As you're going through, sometimes I like to make a little game out of it like that. As corny as that may sound, um, it's something that I have enjoyed, you know, watching and being a part of. So it's so it's so neat to be able to do a radio show like this. Uh, and I know a lot of times I stumble on words. The beauty of live radio, you get to hear me mess up. I'm human. I make mistakes just as much, if not more, than many other people. But I love being able to be uh, and Mario in the chat room says it's not corny at all. He usually does that as well. When it comes to the new show, when a new show drops, he likes to try to guess who the voice actors are, see if he recognizes them as well. So I'm glad I'm not the only one. My wife and I have sat there and been like, oh, well, yeah, that sounds like Todd Abercorn. And that one's definitely Vic Mignogna. And, being able to talk to these people and hearing their voices on a regular basis has helped it make it a little bit easier for us to be able to pick the voice actors out. And then there are certain people like Todd's got a laugh that it doesn't matter what his character's voice is. You hear a scream or a laugh, you know that's a Todd Habercorn character. Um, you know, and Tia Ballard's just got a voice that you can recognize. Like I honestly, and my wife and I were talking about this earlier. I honestly think that um, 02 from Darling in the Franxx is Tia's best character. That is my favorite character that she has ever voiced. I love that character. She has done a tremendous job at bringing that character to life. Um, and before that, it was Mizore from Rosario Vampire. And I'm not saying that she's done a bad job with any of the characters. She's always done phenomenal. But in my opinion, I think that 02 is her best work so far. And I just absolutely fell in love with the character. And the cool thing about it is I didn't realize that I liked it as much as I did, or didn't realize I liked it as much as I do. And you look at Tia. She does a lot of happier characters, including Happy, and she has Yoshiko and Data Live, and or not Yoshiko, Yoshino and Data Live. Good God, it's getting late and it's been a long day. It's been a lot of fun to get to know all these people, talk to all these people. Sometimes it amazes me when I sit down and go, wow, I've been doing this for over 4 years. And I look back at my notebook and I see the names of all the people who have taken time out of their busy lives to come on and be a guest of the show for an hour or co-host for 2 hours. And even you guys are fans who tune in and listen, whether you're listening right now live as we're on the air, or you come back and listen through archives. I thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart for tuning in. It means a lot to me to go back and be like, oh look, I had X amount of listens to the show this week, and I had it's like every day people come to the website and they listen to shows, and it's great to hear that it's great to see that you guys want to come and hear the shows that have gone on. You want to see what we've done. You want to see what we have coming up. Whether you follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Anime-Zing Radio, you follow us on Instagram and Twitter, which I don't use as much as I should. I need to figure out how to use that stuff more, but I am so social media stupid, it's ridiculous. We have a YouTube channel. Search for Anime-Zing Radio on YouTube. We have bonus content up there, stuff you won't hear on the radio show. And that includes interviews with Shelby Rabara at Kineticon last year, press conference interviews with Shelby Rabara, and also the creators of Cyanide and Happiness, panels that we attended at Anime with Carrie Karanen, and Vermont Comic Con with the voice of Pepper, Naomi Grossman. Um, it's plus you'll see the panels that I was a part of as being a speaker at Vermont Comic Con for 2 years in a row. Um, so plus we have interviews with cosplayers and vendors, and we have a Conlug interview that we did with the Connecticut Lego Users Group at Kineticon last year. Wonderful group of people, and it's great because they're adults who play with Legos. That's awesome. We all, as kids, grew up playing with Legos, and then you get to a certain age, and you're like, "Oh, I'm too old to play with Legos. I need to stop doing that. You need to be an adult. You need to grow up. You need to no, play with Legos." I call Minecraft Legos on the computer because that's what it is. You get to create things. You get to create a world. It's neat. It's fun. I fought against playing Minecraft for so long because you would hear, oh, it's stupid, you shouldn't play that, blah 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 blah. But then my wife talked me into trying it back when we were just friends, and it's thanks to games like Minecraft and events like the anime and comic conventions that we were able to you know meet in person for the first time, become friends, eventually fall in love, and now here we are, veterans of the convention scene. When it's not always easy, but we try to go to between 6 and 10 conventions a year between vending and press. So it's so much fun to be a part of the world, and the creativity that's out there. I think people take that for granted. So it doesn't matter your age. Conlug is a perfect example of play with Legos, create stuff. It's a building block to let your imagination run wild, and let do it. Don't be afraid to be a kid, no matter what your age, whether you're 9 or 90. Don't be afraid to be a kid. Let your inner child have some fun too, because it's going to help keep you young. It's going to help keep you sane, and it's going to help you realize that it doesn't matter what's going on in the world. Having fun is an essential part of life, and letting yourself just go and letting worries and stress is actually quite healthy for the mind and the body. So definitely, have some fun, do something silly, do something quirky to keep in the realm of the show tonight. Uh, you know, do something kind for others. Hang out with friends that you haven't talked to in a while. Just do something that you think that your inner child would want to do. Play with cars, build Legos. Play Minecraft. If I had a computer that could play it, I would still be playing it now. But Well, not right now, but because I'm on the air. But uh, uh, I was so bummed when my computer crashed because it was like World of Warcraft I couldn't play anymore, Minecraft couldn't play anymore because the laptop just isn't strong enough to hold all the games and all the information that I need for the shows and stuff. So I had to prioritize as to what was more important, doing the radio show or playing Minecraft. So the radio show won out, and so we're excited about seeing where the show goes in the future. I know I've kind of rambled on for the last 30 minutes or so, but once again, we want to thank Morgan Berry and Jessica Cavanagh for coming on tonight. It was so much fun getting to talk to them about My Hero Academia, an absolutely phenomenal anime that if you haven't watched it yet and you sat through 2 hours of hearing me and our guests talk about My Hero Academia, head over to Funimation.com, subscribe to their website so you can watch the shows right on Funimation.com. You can get the mobile apps that they have. You can get on your cell phone, your iPhone, your PlayStation, your Xbox, Roku box, anywhere that you can find the Funimation app. Subscribe to them. It's less than $10 a month, and it's worth watching My Hero Academia. It's so much. It's such a great show. So many little messages in there. The characters are so much fun. You're gonna find somebody in the group, in that group of kids, that you're just gonna be like, okay, I'm pulling for them. I want them to succeed. They are my favorite character, especially where they have so many different quirks. And like we said, you have a world where 85% of the population has some form of quirk. Morgan and Jessica were talking about how there's somebody who looks like he's a firefighter. He kind of looks like a fire hydrant. And you have Tokuyami who looks like a bird, and you have Sue who's got the quirk and all the abilities of a frog. You have Mineta, who's basically, his quirk is he has sticky balls on his head. That basically just little purple balls. Looks like his hair. He can rip them off, throw them at you, and they stick to everything. So the people who created the show is absolutely amazing. Uh, but coming up next week, like I said, we're going to have Jim Taylor in the guest seat. It'll be fun talking with him again. Sitting in the co-host seat, we are so happy to be welcoming back Douglas Shute from Victory Condition Gaming. And as an added bonus, his daughter, Sydney Shute's going to be joining us as well. So stay tuned next week for more Anime-Zing Radio. Until then, have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Stay safe out there. Enjoy your Monday if you have it off. If you have to work like I do, um, stay safe. Be wary of the idiots that will probably be out in the roadways who are celebrating with a little bit too much alcohol. If you do drink, please don't drive. Um, if you are a designated driver, don't drink. It's that easy. Uh, until next week, thank you so much for tuning in to Anime-Zing Radio. This is Doug Engler wishing you all a happy, safe Memorial Day, a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week with Jim Taylor and Douglas and Sydney Shute. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye, everybody.